And good morning, everybody. Welcome to Marshall County Today, the talk show aimed at informing you about the stories of people and businesses around your neighborhood. It is an extension of our Max 98.3 morning show. Tony Ross, great to be with you. Well, today's guest, very exciting times for our friends at the Historical Society and Marshall County Museum as we get ready for the big fundraiser casino night. Wow, I'll tell you, you guys did some work.
It has been so much fun. We have had such a great response from the community for sponsors. We have collected some exceptional prizes for our, well, not prizes, but items for our silent auction. We have a cruise from Oliver Ford. We have from First Source Bank. We have for Memorial Day weekend, we have their suite with 15 tickets to the ball game in South Bend.
South Bend Cubs,
Yeah,
nice.
along with 2 parking passes. So that's going to be quite good. And we have original painting by Deb Powell. Yesterday we picked up a really cool item from the Remembrance Center, and Lifeplex brought us 3 big packages to for our auction. So those are just a few of the items that we have. The list is very long, so we hope that you'll get your tickets. They're available, $50 a piece, but that includes $25 in chips to play, and it includes refreshments by Christos. So we hope that you will stop at the museum and pick up your tickets because we are going to have a very good time.
Now, talk a little bit about where does this fundraising money go to for the museum?
Well, we have a number of projects that we work on every year. I mean, we have a lot of costs
Right.
involved. We do rely on our membership and our community for funding. We don't charge admission to the museum, so that is not a funding source for us. This year we've had a terrific wallop in technology costs. And, anybody who's currently dealing with that knows that it is not inexpensive by any means. And, those things, they work until they don't. So what we hope to do is to establish kind of a fund so that we have something to dip into rather than just hoping that nothing goes wrong.
Right.
That's not a plan for
nope,
the future.
Nope, no, it's not. Believe me, I had trouble this morning just getting this computer to work today, but and it happens. And
it
sometimes
does.
you got to make upgrades, and that costs a lot of money when we're talking about today's technology.
Well, and the county pays for our full-time staff, but the Historical Society pays for our part-time staff.
Which is me.
There you go.
And so, that is, we couldn't do what we do with fewer people than we have. We have wonderful, wonderful volunteers, but there's just so much that volunteers can do. You know? So
just a couple of weeks ago, during spring break, we had our spring break kids day. It's in the middle of the break. Kids are bored. Parents are getting a little, tense. And so we have them bring the kids to the museum, and we have games and activities and stories and crafts and prizes. And we had about 140 people.
Wow.
So
Good for you guys.
Yeah, it was. We do that twice a year.
Once at Christmas and
once spring break.
Spring break.
And things like that, just they cost money. You have to buy the prizes
and once again, it's planning. The planning needs to be done by staff.
Right. So the Kids Day recap, real quick. I mean, you said you had 140 people for that.
We did.
Wow.
I know, right?
I'm gonna imagine you guys went to bed pretty early when that.
Oh yeah. Well, children are high energy.
Yes, they are.
We love our kids and we love our families. Some of them come back every time.
Yeah.
Lots of grandparents bring in their grandkids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
We see a lot of that.
Yeah, and the kids get a good overall view of the museum as well as having fun playing the games and making the crafts and doing all that. We just spread out all over the museum pretty much.
Let them wander from one thing to the next.
Right.
Good.
But we also did, I think last time we talked about the Tri-Kappa partnership that we're working on to provide fourth graders the Indiana History Bump. You know, that's their fourth grade year. And we have got such a beautiful new room that talks so much about our settlers and how things were before the settlers. And then Tri-Kappa has a presentation that they do, and then they have beautiful scaled down covered wagons, and they have packets of all the things that you might need. And the kids have to decide. They get in groups and they have to decide whether they're going to bring the grandpa's old clock, or whether they're going to bring food, or whether, you know, they have all these things that they have to group decide.
Yeah.
So it was really, it was our
fun.
first time, and watching those kids work through.
They really got engaged with the whole process. We were encouraged by that. We hope that it will be a program that expands. We just did
Countywide, yeah.
one elementary school to see how it would work.
Right.
It was kind of our maiden voyage, and it worked great. As long as the planning is all done ahead of time, you know, you have to plan every 6 minutes with children.
Because that's about as long as their attention span is.
Well, that's
Can
right.
you tell she was a teacher?
Yeah.
That's the space between commercials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the 6 minutes of content, and then so our children, before they come to school, they're all trained that way by the television and by social media. So you have to. There's no point in fighting it. You just go.
You're right. Just go with it.
Yeah.
Try to adapt to it. Right.
That's right.
I wonder
Absolutely.
how many adults check their phone every 6 minutes. I know I do.
It's a dopamine hit.
It is.
Yes, it is. Our show today brought to you by good friends at Just in Time Plumbing and Heating here in beautiful Plymouth, Indiana. Your expert boiler installation and replacement services can be done by Just in Time Plumbing and Heating. And check them out. And coming up, we're going to be doing something special with them. We're going to give you an opportunity for a maintenance coupon, 50% off if you need to have your heating or cooling unit maintenance. I don't even know what you call it, but it just checked out. But really big deal, and we look forward to getting that started here very soon here with our friends at Just in Time Plumbing and Heating. You know, the other thing too I want to talk about, our Quinian of the month. Talk about that.
I'm sorry.
The Quinian of the month. I'm looking at your thing here. Iris?
Kiwani of the month.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Maybe I mispronounced it. I guess.
Iris Fry is our library or collections manager, actually. And she is the lady that does the research and accessions all the items that we take in. She's also helps in. She's in charge of the library, and they help people with research. So she is a member of Kiwanis, and this last week they declared her the Kiwanian of the month.
Good.
Yeah. So we have a sign.
We have a sign
that says Kiwanian of the month.
Yeah.
It's just sitting by her desk.
That's wonderful.
She's-
We gotta
We
give
think
them props. I mean, she
Yeah.
works hard.
She does work
She works
hard. And
And-
she's earned it.
That's right. She's a good Kiwanian.
Yeah, she makes
Absolutely.
chili, and she does.
Yeah,
she does all
stuff.
kinds of things. She's a sweetheart as
Does
well.
she make chili for lunch?
Yeah, she makes chili for the chili cook-off.
Oh, there
Well,
you go.
no,
There you go.
she
She
served it.
serves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chili. Yeah, she's a master of costume as well, and she will be dressed up for our casino night.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have lots of costuming in store.
Yes.
For visitors who are certainly our guests are encouraged to dress up in their best, you know, zoot suit or flapper
There you go.
dress or
Yeah,
Whatever.
everybody has one in
I
their
used to have a
closet.
zoot suit because I always wanted to have one. The problem is I've kind of outgrown it.
Oh,
well, if it's still laying around,
you'll have that.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
honey, there's no way I can fit it. I'm like I can get one leg halfway through the pant leg.
well, somebody might.
That was back then. But no,
A while
that's
back.
exciting stuff. Also, spring cleaning. Yeah, I'm going to
Yeah.
address
Yeah.
that real quick.
Every summer, one of our fundraisers is sidewalk sales.
Which come up in July and then again in September. But we have added a sale that we're going to do in November at the end of the year that's just going to be Christmas items.
Yeah.
So
Really?
yeah, we did it for the first time this last year in 2023. Was very successful, and really basically it just people donate what they are tired of or what they don't want anymore. We sort through it and pick the stuff that we think will sell,
Mm-hmm.
and then we just have sort of a little Christmas shop, and you can come by and pick some Christmas items for just a little bit of nothing. So
Nice.
Yeah.
in November, we'll be talking about that again.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, when people are doing their spring cleaning, is the time to think about those sidewalk opportunities for us.
Right.
So we're glad to take things that maybe that just you're tired of them. You know, you've outgrown whatever it is. Somebody else will think that's treasure, and all of that benefits the museum. So
Yeah.
whatever we sell goes right back into what we do.
And that'll happen in mid-July.
July.
Mid-July.
But we'll
Okay.
take it now.
Yeah,
We
want
start.
items.
Where do you guys store it? I mean, you guys are changing your themes in different rooms like every month. Where are
Well,
you putting it all?
It takes strategy.
I
Let me tell you.
guess. Mercy.
Yes, we have some spaces that we use for storage, and we have some spaces that's all in the basement.
Yeah.
You know, we have
Yeah.
because we have 3 buildings, we have 3 basements. So, and most of that is artifacts.
Is it
Yeah.
really?
Oh yes.
It's an amazing place to see. Everything is labeled and everything is in order and everything's covered to keep it safe.
Yeah.
And we have special. Everything's wrapped. You know, like if it's a piece of clothing or a hat or a quilt, they're all wrapped in archival paper,
Mhm.
and then they're in acid-free boxes so that they will be
So that
preserved.
they won't continue to deteriorate.
Right.
Right.
Right. But we have some spaces. We have a workshop. We have a few spaces that's what they're for, is to
Yeah.
collect items for
We
the
just
sale.
tuck things in.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know where you guys.
We
Come
have-
over.
Who
Come
knows?
over sometime. We'll show
Yeah.
you.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I appreciate the special invitation, but I'm just at the minute a little awestruck. I mean, my gosh, you guys got that place just spaced out great, and there's like you got every nook and cranny. It seems like they're all
Yeah.
taken care of. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have some rooms that we don't use for display, especially in the Lauer building, because they're not suitable for display. They're too small. We have a couple of rooms that used to be bathrooms that are not bathrooms anymore, but they're just small upstairs, and we store things
Yeah.
in those areas too. So, but yes, every nook and cranny.
it's
Yes.
covered.
It's all
Right.
accounted for too.
Yeah,
Every bit
that's
of
the
it.
that's
Right.
the amazing part is that
Yeah.
pretty much you can find things. I mean, we can find things when somebody needs something, or we have a computer program that takes care of that. So we can look it up and know exactly where it is. Everything is coded,
Right.
so we know what
Yeah.
building, what floor, what shelf, what box, all of that.
I
That's
have.
a lot of work.
Oh
It
my,
is.
it is.
It's a lot
I-
of work.
Mary, who does quite a bit of that, she gave me a box recently that I have to write an article about and put some pictures up. They are little round glass discs, and they are printed with ads, and they would put them on the front of the movie theater camera, and it would project the ad onto the screen.
Really?
Now these are about the size of a milk cap, and the detail is astounding. But they would put them on the front of the movie camera for ads for local business.
How's that
No
for low tech?
kidding.
Yeah, and there's lots of them. I get lost in that kind of stuff. Yeah,
Well, sure. I mean, I gotta see. I do gotta see that.
yeah.
That's got my curiosity.
That's on my
We
desk.
might have to do a little demo of that. You know, maybe we do have a projector. We could put that at the end of the room and project those on
Project
the
those,
screen.
yeah.
That would be cool.
do that.
And
I
you
never
know-
knew that even was one possible two existed.
No, me either, and I'm pretty old. I never saw that.
Well, it's good old fashioned engineering, a way to solve a problem.
Yeah.
Well, and another thing we need to talk about before we go back to the casino night fundraiser coming up, something you do monthly is the brown bag event.
Yeah.
You know, and that's coming up. And so, who's our special guest for this?
Our county historian, Kurt Garner. He's always a really popular speaker. And, he can take something that you never thought about, particularly, and make it really interesting because he gets in and tells you the whys and the wherefores on things. And we're talking about the evolution of roads, how they got their names and numbers, and what the state commission of transportation had to do with all that, and what came from where. And I just think it's very interesting to know those things when you're out driving. As I was last week, I was driving cross country, and of course all the roads in Marshall County that run north south, not maybe all, but they're alphabetical trees.
By alphabet.
Yeah, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So why did they do that? How did they get the numbering system set up? And so I think that's a very interesting topic, and he's going to tell us all about it.
Yeah, pretty much in Marshall County, there are some places where you could get lost. But if you're out in the country, as long as you know the system, you can kind of, you know pretty much where you are.
Navigate, yeah.
Yeah, if it's close to the beginning of the alphabet and low in the number, you're up there in the northwest corner, and things just progress from there.
Mm-hmm.
So we're very organized in Marshall County.
See, I'm learning right now. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
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 And Kurt, he just, like I say, he takes a subject that you might not think about on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And makes it interesting, and he always packs the house.
He always does. So
Well,
yeah.
he's good at what he
come
does.
early and bring your lunch. And
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and let's talk about that. I mean, it's a brown paper bag lunch.
Exactly. If you want to bring your lunch, you're sure welcome. Lots of people do.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you just want to come to listen, if that doesn't have to be your lunch hour, then you're sure welcome to do that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, you don't have to bring food; it's not required.
We limit them to 1 hour, so folks who work locally can get in there and learn something new in their lunch hour and still get back to work.
Very interesting stuff, you guys, because each month somebody different.
Somebody
yeah.
different. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Next month is John Houghton the Very Reverend John Houghton from Culver, who is also an avid historian, and he's going to talk about Daniel MacDonald, who of course wrote the history of Marshall County and was instrumental in getting the Menominee statue. So he was very, very active in Marshall County, and actually a very good writer. I love the book. And Al Toner, who was a big shot from Lighters Ford, Kiwanis,
Mm-hmm.
and he owned like everything in Kiwanis, and Kiwanis was a happening place. And so he and Daniel MacDonald somehow rerouted or had enough influence to route the railroad through Kiwanis and then Culver, and that was the Vandalia Railroad. So yeah, there was some behind the scenes things happening there, and
imagine that, a railroad and behind the scenes things.
yeah.
I don't know what you're insinuating here, but
We'd like to get behind the scenes with our railroad that owns our old depot and get them to donate that.
Sure would be a nice thing.
It would be, wouldn't it? I would love to see something like the Reese done with that.
The Vandalia Railroad does not exist any longer, but it was the railroad that went right past the lake in Culver.
It was actually on the lakefront.
Yeah.
And I was told that it was heavily used. I mean, it was an important travel way. Yeah, that's the word.
Yeah,
it was.
It not only carried cadets back and forth to South Bend so that they could get elsewhere to connect with other trains here in Plymouth or points farther north, but Maxinkuckee was a very big provider of ice in the wintertime, and the Vandalia Railroad had ice trains that would stop and pick up big, huge blocks of ice in the wintertime and take them
and believe it or
to
not,
Chicago.
Didn't know that.
They were shipping ice to Indianapolis as well, and they would have enough ice in the ice houses in Culver to ship ice to Indianapolis right up until the lake froze the next year, practically.
Yeah.
Really?
They were sending thousands of pounds of ice.
That's an
regularly.
interesting story itself. Ice houses of well, ice houses in general, but ice houses in Marshall County.
Yeah,
Ironically, the ice house in Culver, which was enormous, it was like a huge warehouse.
right.
It burned.
Mhm.
We have a picture of that
Yeah,
in our fire display right now.
yeah, we do.
So
Mhm.
yeah, there are so many interesting things that are tied to the railroad and how it changed lives.
Yeah,
So I hope you listeners and viewers right now on our Max 98.3 stream exclamation point channel, um, you're kind of getting a sense of what this museum means to Marshall County, because it is this living, walking, breathing history,
loaded
and
with stories.
it's in awesome stories like we're hearing right now. And we encourage you. The doors. Give us the hours of operations for our museum.
We're open from Tuesday through Saturday, and we open the doors at 10 o'clock. We're there till 4. And on Saturdays from 11 to 1, our train room, well, it's always open, but the trains run from 11 to 1 on Saturdays when we have a volunteer engineer up there
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
running things for us. It's a great time to bring the kids.
we have terrific volunteers that maintain the railroad set that we have, which is incredible.
Yeah.
They build it, they maintain it, they run it.
Yep.
They're just
It's
amazing
gorgeous.
people.
It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
gorgeous.
And
It's-
every time we have a children's day or a school group come through, those guys are right in there running the trains for them.
Yep.
So
They just
that's
volunteer
cool.
their time whenever we need them.
Yeah, it's
It's
very
terrific.
fun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, it's great to have folks with servants' hearts doing
Exactly
what you guys are
right.
doing.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah, our volunteers are predominantly retirement age folk. Not all of them,
Right.
but a large group are retirement age.
How many guys have, out of curiosity, do you think?
How many
Volunteers,
volunteers?
yeah.
I'm going to say active every week kind of volunteers, probably 25.
Yeah.
But
That's
we
a nice
have
number.
on our list closer to, I would say, 75. But some of those people just come in once a quarter, or they come in just when we need repair work done,
Sure.
or they're specialized. They have talents, but that volunteer group, that retired group, they have so many skills. They're just
Yes.
and they have so much experience. Some of them are former teachers. They work with the kids really well. We have 2 or 3 that do wonderful work with wood, and we have some that are good at typing and doing clerical kinds of things, and some they just come in to fold letters or fold a newsletter and get that newsletter mailing out every 3 months. So
Yeah.
yeah, and they're just a wealth of knowledge about a number of things. We probably have 6 or 7 dedicated train guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They
That
come
do
in
that.
just to do the trains.
You mentioned the newsletter. Talk about that real quick.
Well, that's one of the great perks of joining the museum is that you get the newsletter 4 times a year. It's an 8-page newsletter, and it's sort of a balance between what's coming up and what we've already done. And usually there's an article or 2 about something interesting that's historical in nature. This month, it's all about the what used to be the Pine Tree Inn for a couple of
Right.
years during Prohibition.
Yes.
The house out on 17, right there at the curve,
Mm-hmm.
that has such a history. It's just a very interesting story. How that house, who built it, how it tied into the brewery business in Marshall County, and how it became a speakeasy during
Yep.
the Prohibition years, and what has happened since then. So
And our current prosecutor, Nelson Chipman, his grandfather was the judge that shut that down.
yeah, he threw the book at him.
He did.
Yeah.
He was. We've been running Facebook ads and things, just talking about some of the funny stories about Prohibition in Marshall County. Lady in Bremen was busted for selling bootleg, and all this time her husband's in jail for the same thing. So she's, and
Yeah.
But I mean, that's how you make money.
yeah.
Or
Yeah.
undercover-
I'll be the legal, but
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it was
it was sign of the times.
right.
Yeah.
A story about a woman who bought the excise guys were posing as silk hosiery salesmen door to door. And they sold her some stockings, and she sold them a couple of drinks. Busted.
Yeah, they actually took something that they were served in one house down to Culver to the academy to have it analyzed.
Really?
Yeah, and Kosciuszko County was accused of having very poor bootleg because it didn't pass the freeze test. That it froze and the bottles burst, so you know it wasn't real hooch.
Right,
No.
yeah.
No, and I love the one about the guy that two guys came down here from Chicago and they were out by out I can't the Donaldson. They were in the Donaldson area and they bought a farm and they were taking things back and forth to Chicago. Well, with every trip that they made to take the legitimate freight, they would take booze. And so they got caught, and then when they were raided, the one guy jumped out the window and took off, but they let him change his clothes. So he went upstairs and he jumped out the window and he took off, and the other guy is screaming, get him, he did it all. I just put up the money and he hasn't paid me back. So they're just
No
it had to
honor
be
among
chaos.
thieves.
No honor at all.
They finally got him. But
Yeah.
they're just
But you know,
lots of
even
funny
that was
stories.
done gentlemanly down back then. You know,
Yeah.
the chance to get his clothes back. You kidding me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
You
what
go
it's done.
upstairs.
That
Yeah.
wouldn't have happened these
No.
days.
Oh no, no,
Yeah.
no, no.
And there were many unrepentant,
Yeah, they'd get caught over and over and
over,
over again.
yeah.
And the women went to the Indianapolis to the women's prison for 3 months or a year or something, and then they come back and start bootlegging again. It was very profitable.
Yes.
Very profitable.
Okay, I want to get to the casino night fundraiser again because
Yep.
again, this is coming up April 19th, so that's just around the corner here.
Tickets are available at the museum.
Mhm.
We still have tickets. We do foresee selling out, so we'd like for you to get them as soon as you can. It's going to be, like I said, just a fun evening. We've got some surprises planned,
Mhm.
so you can,
It's going to be music and some dancing and lots of food and
games.
Games.
We're going to have games. We have a company coming in with professional dealers, so it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of blackjack, and we're going to have craps, and we're going to have roulette.
Oh, you
and-
are going to have roulette?
Yes, and
I think
poker.
you just sold another ticket.
Oh,
Oh,
good.
yay.
Yeah, we're going to have
I am a
roulette.
That's
sucker
your
for
game.
roulette.
Well,
Oh,
yeah, we're going to
Well,
do it, and
yeah.
so we think we're going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I just foresee it being. That evening's going to start with a bang and end with a bang.
Yeah.
So.
It's we're throwing a party,
mhm.
and the idea is to have fun. We don't even it's technically not gambling, so
No, because we are
can't
not.
do that.
Yeah, not
Mhm.
playing for money. It's all been vetted by our lawyers, and it's in fun. It is not
Right, the whole
for
nine.
profit.
Well,
believe me,
It's donations, yeah.
it's donations,
Right.
and so come stuff your little wallets before you get there for our silent auction, and
Have a good time.
yeah, it's just have a good time. I think we have found that just having a dinner with a speaker is not as people just aren't as
It's not as
excited about
compelling.
it. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's not as compelling. I think people have been. Maybe it's an after effect of COVID, but I think people are ready to get out and be entertained and have a good time.
Couldn't agree
Even
more.
even helping a good cause.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's exactly what this fundraiser is about with the Marshall County Historical Society and Museum. Ladies, thank you so much.
Thank
We're
Appreciate
you.
so
you
happy to be
guys
here.
are doing a wonderful job there. You are a true part of Marshall County and the history, and we just thank God we got people like you that are running that beautiful museum over there.
Well,
And
thanks very
you
much.
have made it a wonderful reason to come to Marshall County. That's for sure.
We hope
And
so.
it's free.
And it's free.
Mhm.
That's right. Back to wrap it up in just a moment.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.